Elimu live fans, nice to be back here to decipher another lesson in oral skills. Today's lesson is about etiquette. Etiquette. We will discuss etiquette, all the basics of etiquette. So what I will start with, is to explain what etiquette is. Once I explain etiquette, then I will go through three basic things we'll cover, and then from there we see what else we can cover because of time. So what is etiquette? And remember, you can give us your comments there on the number on the screen. You can see there's a number there. You can give us your comments. So I will start by explaining what is etiquette. Etiquette basically is the rule that indicates the proper and polite manner to behave. How do you behave? Because your behavior the proper way to behave, how to conduct yourself, and basically we look at telephone etiquette, we look at turn taking and register. But first I go through the different types of etiquette. One, we have social etiquette. What is social etiquette? Social etiquette, this is the manner used in everyday interactions, like saying please, saying thank you, when someone, or not interrupting someone when they are talking. That is social etiquette. We have dining etiquette. Dining etiquette, basically, these are the table manners. Sometimes we have poor behaviors when eating. We avoid that, such as chewing when your mouth is open. That is not good dining etiquette. Or even knowing which fork to use. Then we have workplace etiquette. How are you supposed to behave professionally when you are working with your colleagues, greeting them correctly, using respectful language, being punctual when you are going to work, dressing appropriately, basically your conduct in your workplace, that is workplace etiquette. And now importantly, we have online etiquette. Online etiquette, also known as netiquette. In these days of digital communication, it is very important to have online, avoid posting some things when you're using your WhatsApp, your Facebook, all the social media handles. You avoid using slang, you avoid using immoral language, and most importantly, I know maybe most of you may not have realized this, even when you are sending a message, an SMS, it is rude to use caps lock, to text in capital letters. It is rude. It looks like shouting. So you are supposed to, you know how we do it, in capitalization. So basically that is the parts of the different types of etiquette. And now I will divide it so that we cover one at a time. Courteous language. Use of courteous language. Then appropriate use of register. Turn taking. So let me start with courteous language. What is courteous language? Lugha ya heshima. Lugha ya heshima. the language you use that is very polite and polished to show the respect. At no time should you allow yourself to be rude. At no time should you allow yourself to be ill-mannered, impolite, inconsiderate, or even thoughtless. Courteous language demands that you always be courteous. So for the sake of the definition, it means speaking or writing in a respectful, polite, and considerate way. It is a very key component of good etiquette, and it helps build up positive relationships. And which are some of the courteous language you're supposed to use? Some polite words and phrases. Polite, you have a please, 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 could you please help me with this and this? You can use a phrase like thank you, thank you, thank you for your help. It's appreciating. Excuse me, can we do this and that? You can use the term sorry, sorry. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. I'm sorry for this. Sorry is we say it's a word that works magic. Also, you can use may I join you. Don't just assume you go somewhere, you find somebody seated, and you just go and sit just next to that person. That is not good etiquette. So you just request that person, may I join you? And you continue. We also have some respectful titles and forms of address. For example, Mr., Mrs., Miss, Madam, and so on. Use those titles appropriately. You're not supposed to overuse them again. It may look like you are mocking somebody. Then we have speaking with kindness and understanding. Instead of telling somebody you are wrong, that is not good courteous language. You just say, I see your point, but I think there might be another way to look at it. That is better than just telling somebody that is wrong, you are wrong. Then instead of saying, give me that, you can try, could you please pass me that? That is another nice way of being polite and speaking with kindness. I will give just an example of a dialogue in a class. When you are a student, you are addressing your teacher, I'll give a sample dialogue that can help you in a class. The student will ask, excuse me, sir, may I ask you a question? And then the teacher will respond, of course, go ahead. Then the student will say, I'm having a little trouble understanding today's lesson. Could you please explain it again? And the teacher will say, no problem. I appreciate you asking. Let me go over it again with you. And the student will say, thank you so much. I appreciate. And the teacher will conclude by saying, you are welcome. Don't hesitate in case you don't get it. You have another question. That is just an example of a dialogue. Then there are some words and phrases. This one's just an addition that shows the respect. Please, you use it when you want somebody to do something for you. Also used to when you want something from somebody. Lend me 10 shillings, please. Then you have thank you. You use it whenever someone does something for you. Also, when someone commends you, if somebody tells you, you are very smart today, don't say, I know. That is not a polite phrase. Just say thank you. Or you get some other people, you tell them, I like your hairstyle. You have a beautiful hairstyle. And they respond by saying, I wish you saw the one I had last time, or the one I will now put. That is not being polite. Just say thank you. Then you have pardon me. It is almost the same as thank you. No, it's almost the same as excuse me. Now I will give us an assignment on use of courteous language, so that you can try and you can give us your comments on the numbers on your screen. You can give us your comments. Jennifer has gone to the shop to buy a bar of soap. The shopkeeper tells her to be polite next time she comes to buy from him, showing which polite phrases could Jennifer have failed to use. Why would the shopkeeper tell Jennifer, the next time you come to buy from my shop, you have to be polite? Just try that. That's an assignment on use of courteous language. From courteous language, before I go to register, we'll discuss the telephone etiquette. This one now we really need to discuss it because people take it for granted. Some argue that since the phone is yours, you can use it the way you want. No, it's not supposed to be like that. Telephone etiquette. These are the rules that demonstrate the proper and polite way to use your phone. It starts from how you prepare for the call to when you end that call. Don't just take the phone and call. Prepare to have that phone call. And then how now you end that call. And I'll go through it briefly. Some key tips for good telephone etiquette. Answer promptly. You're supposed to answer within 3 links if possible. Don't let this phone ring and ring and ring. It's like you are deciding if you will pick or you will not. Then another tip is greet politely. Start with a warm hello and state your name. State your name. Hello, Mr. Ernest speaking. Then be respectful and patient. Be respectful and patient. You're supposed to listen actively without interrupting. Also speak clearly and calmly. You avoid murmuring or speaking too fast. Also, you're supposed to end the call nicely. End the call nicely. Say thank the caller for calling you and then say goodbye. Don't just say okay. Okay. Once the call has ended, but before the call ends, just thank the caller. Thank you for calling me and have a nice day. Then we have what to avoid. What do you avoid when you are to make a phone call or during a phone call? Number 1, speaking too fast or too softly. It can be very hard for the other person to understand you. You're supposed to speak clearly, calmly, and at a steady pace. Another thing you should avoid when making a phone call, interrupting the other person. Let the other person finish what they are telling you. Don't rush to interrupt. Then also, using slang or overly casual language, especially in formal calls. If somebody is making a formal call, an official call to give you important information, avoid being casual. Stop telling somebody sasa and something. Just use the correct greetings. Then also avoid chewing or eating or drinking when you are speaking over the phone. It is bad manners. You are speaking and you are chewing, making it very casual. Avoid that. It is distracting and it also sounds unprofessional. Remember, if somebody is giving you a call and they want to give you a nice proposal, the way you respond, they will gauge your level of seriousness. They will gauge it. So also avoid getting distracted. That means you avoid texting or scrolling or multitasking, doing other things when you are making that phone call. Also, another thing we avoid is not introducing yourself. Sometimes you are called and you don't even introduce yourself. You may end up even receiving the message that was not meant for you, because maybe the caller wanted to call somebody and you just pick the phone, start talking. You may receive sensitive information which was not yours. Also, being impatient. Some people are really in a rush. Somebody calls you, they are using the ATM, but you have to behave like you want to be doing something else. It's like that call is not important to you. That is something you should avoid. And lastly, avoid ending the call abruptly. Once somebody call you and they give you the message they were giving you, don't assume they have concluded. Then you are saying sawa and you disconnect. No. Wait until somebody hangs up with a proper goodbye. Always saying something like, thank you for your time, goodbye, and have a lovely day. And there are some places you are not supposed to pick the phone call. There are some places where you are not even supposed to call when you're in those places. But you know, sometimes, especially the African way, we just tend to receive calls anywhere, because it's your phone. But these places, in the bathroom, if you are in the bathroom or washrooms, you are not supposed to receive a phone call. In the hospital, and you know, this is a very big challenge, because you see people going to visit a sick patient, and they are there, they are calling to tell the others at home how the patient is. It is not good. It is not etiquette. Remember, we are dealing with etiquette, the proper way how to conduct yourself well. In the waiting room, if you're in the waiting room, you are not supposed to make phone calls. In meetings, you are in a meeting and you are making phone calls. It is not good. It is not good. It actually looks it's like you're disrespecting the other people in the meeting. It's like you are feeling you are too important. Even if it is an emergency phone call, excuse yourself and walk out of the meeting. Don't pick it in the meeting. Also in funerals, people are mourning their loved one and you are there busy making phone calls. It's not allowed. And even in weddings, you are there to celebrate, not to make phone calls. Then I will give now the steps to step-by-step telephone conversation. This is usually tested in the exam. Telephone conversation. Number one, the first step, the phone is answered by someone who asks if he or she can help. That is the first step. The second step, the caller makes a request either to be connected to someone or to get information. Step three, the caller is connected or given the information or even informed if the person they were looking for is not allowed. Then stage four, the caller is asked to leave a message for the person if the person who was supposed to get the message is absent. Then stage five, the caller leaves a message or asks another question. And the final step is now when the phone call finishes. So basically, we'll just summarize that by saying the phone is yours, you accept, or it is an official phone, maybe you are the secretary, you are supposed to respect, to have the phone etiquette all the way. Remember all those kids. These are things we study not just because of the exam, because they can be examined in the exam, but also because to show that you are a socially acceptable person who is not immoral. Then even we usually say, don't receive your phone call in public. If you are, even in a matatu, you're not supposed to receive a phone call. Just inform the caller, kindly call me later, or if it's an emergency, do a text. I'm in a public place. Some people are so poor in phone calls, they are discussing their personal problems or their personal business, and they will come where there are people, they start talking, asking about your goats and cows in the village. Nobody is interested. That is your business. If you are called, just excuse yourself. Excuse yourself and step away. Then you avoid shouting. And we also avoid arguing in a phone call. We don't argue. So that is all about the telephone etiquette. From there, we come to the register. What is a register? I know most people are already familiar with the register in class, the one we used to mark the attendance if you are present or not. But when we are discussing etiquette, the register here, this is the tone or the style you use in different situations. Which tone do you use? Which style do you use? The appropriate choice of register means choosing the right level of formality in your language, depending on who you are speaking to and what the situation is. Using the correct register shows respect, shows a lot of respect. It builds good relationships, and it also helps to avoid misunderstandings. And there are three main types of register. Three main types of register. Types of registers. Number one, we have the formal register. Formal register, let me list them, then we discuss one by one. You have the neutral register and the informal register. Informal register. So basically the formal register, this is used in business calls, speeches, job interviews, letters, school presentations. It features polite and structured and respectful register. A good example of a formal register is, "Good morning, sir. I'm calling to inquire about the meeting schedule." That is a good example of formal register. Then we have the neutral. Neutral, this is the register that is used in everyday conversations when you're speaking to strangers, general writing, and so on. It features clear and polite, but not too formal. It is not too formal. And for example, "Hi, I was wondering if you could help me with something." That is a neutral register. Then you have the informal register. This one now is for friends or casual acquaintances. It is used in chats with friends and family members. Or when you are texting, it is relaxed. It uses contractions. You can use slang. For example, "Hey, what's up? Want to hang out later?" That is when you are talking now to your friend or your brother or your sister or your cousin, your family members. That is an informal register. Then we will discuss the appropriate choice of register. How do you know which is the appropriate choice of register? Register denotes the choice of language, whether it is formal or informal. So it is the choosing of appropriate language. You can see it on your screen, using the appropriate language for the context. And there are the factors that determine the language that we use. Which are some of these factors? The age of the person you are addressing, the gender, the sex, the relationship between you and that person. It is important to select the right language for the right situation. And there are some things that can affect the register. One, you have the setting of the speech. Where is the speech taking place or what time? Also the topic of the speech. Then the relationship between the speakers. How do you relate with the person you are speaking to? And obviously the age. When you are addressing the Gen Zs, you may choose a different register than when you are addressing the millennials, and so on and so on. So that is all about the register. Now we will come to turn taking. Taking turns. What is turn taking? That is the first thing that you should ask yourself. Turn taking is the practice of taking turns when speaking in a conversation. It ensures everyone has a chance to talk, listen, and respond without interrupting or dominating the conversation. And somebody may be wondering, why is turn taking important? Why is it important? One, it shows respect for other people's opinion. Two, it helps keep the conversation organized and balanced. 3, it helps to avoid confusion or talking over each other. When you talk and somebody talks, it's very difficult to clearly comprehend that conversation. Even in a market, because some people tend to say this is not a market. So even in a market, the hawker and the buyer, they have to talk in turns. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, how much are you selling this? I know most people don't even say hi, because if you just want to buy a shoe, you just go there to the shoe vendor and you are like, how much is this? You don't even greet the person. There should be some form of a conversation. Another importance, it helps to make people feel heard and valued. When you give people a turn, it helps to make them feel valued. They feel heard. They feel you have clearly heard what they had to say. So how can you achieve smooth turn taking? How do you achieve it? Number 1, using polite phrases. For example, there are phrases for interrupting. We have phrases for accepting the turn when it is offered. Then we have phrases for keeping your turn, if you want to keep your turn, and also getting other people speaking, and so on and so on. That is one way of achieving a smooth turn taking. Number 2, using gestures to indicate you have completed what you are saying or you want to say something. You drop your arm when you have completed and raise it when you want to say something. When you see somebody raising the arm, you know they want to say something. Also, another way of achieving smooth turn taking, varying the intonation to show you have heard or you have not finished speaking. You show by varying the intonation. You have the rising intonation, the falling intonation. And then finally, number 4, using some noises like humming and to show that you have not, when you are thinking, if you are thinking and you have not completed your turn, to avoid making the other person interrupt you, you use I wanted to go, it is allowed, and it's also a way of achieving smooth turn taking. And now we have the turn taking cues. Turn taking cues. Ask a question, for example. That is number 1. Ask a question, for example, did you want to add anything? That is one cue. Number 2, trails off. When his or her voice becomes weaker, to an extent you may not hear his words, you know it is a cue. It is a cue to show you now you can take over and you can have your turn. Number 3, indicates when they are done speaking with a closing statement. For example, that's all I wanted to say, or I think I have made my point. Number 4, uses marker words. Those are that allow the others to speak. For example, well, so, and so on and so on. And number 5, drops the pitch or the volume. You lower your voice at the end of the utterance. This is the use of now the falling intonation. And finally, uses gestures to signal that the other can contribute. We know how to use the gestures. And there are some violations in turn taking. There are 5 well-known violations in conversation. Number 1, actually these ones you should have them down. Violations in turn taking. Violations in turn taking. Number 1, you have interruptions. We will discuss them one by one. Interruptions, we have overlaps. Overlaps. Then you have grabbing the floor. Grabbing the floor and hogging the floor. Hogging the floor. hogging the floor, and silence. Silence. These are common violations in turn taking, and I will very fast take you through them. One, when you're talking about interruption, we are talking about inhibiting the speaker from finishing their sentences during their turn. That is interruption. You don't let somebody complete or finish speaking before you interrupt. Number two, we are talking about overlap. This is talking at the same time as the current speaker. There is what we call the interruptive overlap. Interruptive overlap is a negative. We can have some cooperative overlap. That is encouraged to show that you're interested in the message, cooperative. But interruptive overlap is a violation. Number three, you have interrupting. When you're talking about grabbing the floor, this is interrupting and then taking over the turn before being offered. Politicians are very good in that. You interrupt the floor, you take over, which is not a very good etiquette. Then we have another violation, the hogging the floor. Hogging the floor, this is when you take over the floor and ignore other people's attempt to take the floor. Once you take over, it is you and you alone. Nobody else can say anything. You are the one now. And then finally, when you're talking about silence, this is the remaining without saying anything for quite some time. This is also a violation in turn taking. You are offered a turn and you are just there silent. You don't say anything. It's like you ignore the turn offered. Those are the common violations that are there in turn taking. Then we have, I'll give a list of some phrases. Some phrases are turn taking phrase. To interrupt, when you want to interrupt, which phrases can you use? You can say, before I forget, that is interrupting politely. Yeah? I don't like to interrupt, but, and then you say what you wanted to say. I wouldn't usually interrupt, but, that is also another phrase you can use. I'm afraid I have to stop you there. You know, maybe even because of time, you see it even in the news, when now the time does not allow somebody to finish, so you use that. And then I will let you finish in a minute or a second. You can also say, may I interrupt? Don't just interrupt, request that person, may I interrupt? Then they give you the turn. So there's also some phrases to accept when the turn is offered. When you are offered the turn, when you went to interrupt and you offered that turn, some of the phrases you can use, thanks, I won't take long. You can also say, what I wanted to say was, and then you continue. Also, when you want to stop other people from interrupting you during your turn, there are some other phrases you can use, like, I just have one more point. I have just one more point. I have nearly finished. Kindly let me finish. I'm almost. Before you have your say, I haven't quite finished my point yet. I know you are dying to join in, but those are phrases now to stop other people from interrupting you. When you want to offer the turn to another, you can use phrases like, right, that question, but that's enough for me. That's another phrase you can use. Can you give me your thoughts on? That's a phrase you can use to offer the turn. Does anyone want to say something before I move on? It also means you're offering a turn. And how about you? How about you is also another phrase. And then to take the turn back after being interrupted. If somebody interrupted you politely and now you are taking your turn back, you used phrases like, as I was saying before I was interrupted, then you continue. To get back to the topic, and then you continue. Carrying on from where we left on, and then you continue. The rest is endless. You can come up with so many phrases. The most important thing is to interrupt politely. Interrupt politely. So I hope you are now very clear. You are very clear on today's lesson. You can give us your opinion on Elimu Live Elimu at KUTV. The number, the WhatsApp number, the SMS number is on your screen. You can give us your comments, you give us your thoughts. Anywhere you don't understand, you can make us know, and then we'll take you clear. So now basically, because of time, I will summarize. The key points in the etiquette lesson. We started by, okay, thank you. We said that when you are discussing the etiquette, I will now summarize everything briefly. Number one is the definition. The definition. Definition. And here we said, what is etiquette? I will remind you, for the sake of somebody who may have forgotten. Etiquette is a set of polite behaviors, all customs and rules for respectful and appropriate conduct in social and professional or public situations. That is the definition of etiquette. Then we talked about number 2, use of courteous language. Courteous language, in Swahili, lugha ya heshima. This is the use of, we said, is the use of polite expressions like please, thank you, excuse me, sorry, may I, and so on and so on. Also said you speak in a kind and respectful tone. You're supposed to avoid being rude or being harsh or demanding, using demanding language. And then number 3, and we talked about the words and phrases. Words and phrases. Words and phrases that show respect. Words and phrases that show respect. Here you address people properly, like you use the word sir, madam, Mr., Mrs., doctor, professor, and so on and so on. Use respectful phrases like with all due respect, would you mind, and I appreciate your help, and so on and so on. Another summary, I have talked about telephone etiquette. Telephone etiquette. Here we have talked about how to answer politely and also how to introduce yourself. How to introduce yourself when you're making a phone call. Also, we talked about how to speak clearly and listen carefully, and avoid eating, chewing, multitasking when you are making a phone call. And you also, we said you end a call with a polite phrase. Thank the person for calling you and say goodbye. Then number five, we have talked about preparation for a phone call. How do you prepare to make a phone call? Knowing the purpose of the phone call. Know why are you calling? Don't call somebody, then you start, you know, no. Then preparing the key points or questions. That one you do before making a phone call. Then you find a quiet place, somewhere where there are no interactions, no distractions. And then finally, you said you use a formal and polite language where needed. If you're talking to your friend, your casual friend, you can use slang, but for a formal phone call, use a polite and a formal language. And then number 6, we have talked about what to avoid when making a phone call. Avoid interrupting, avoid speaking too fast, avoid using rude language or very casual language. Also avoid being distracted or being unprepared. And finally, avoid ending the call abruptly. And you're even supposed to have enough airtime. Before you make a phone call, get the airtime. It is also etiquette. Don't just go after making a phone call, after a few seconds the call is disconnected because you never even checked if you had the airtime. Then we have also talked about a register, the appropriate choice of register. We have said register is all about the choice of words, and we have defined the register. Then we have said that we have 3 types of register. The formal register for professional or academic or official setting. We have talked about the neutral register. This is for everyday polite conversation, and also informal register. Here we have talked about this is the one you use for friends and family. And finally, we have talked about turn taking in conversations, taking turns when speaking and listening. Also, avoiding to interrupt others. Let somebody just speak and finish. And also using the polite phrases to join or pass the conversation. And finally, show the interest and encourage others to speak. So generally, that was all about the etiquette. It's part of oral skills, a very key part, very key component. And also these are skills we say, you don't just need them, you just need them for academic or for class purposes. These are skills you need out there so that, you usually say respect is earned. Respect is earned. And you remember you can ruin that respect because of how you conduct yourself. So basically, let's have etiquette in everything you do. Have etiquette in the way you walk, the way you dress. Sometimes you dress in a very inappropriate way. It is not etiquette. When you see somebody eating, and they are still talking, you are eating, you are talking, sometimes even food stuff is coming from your mouth. That is also not good etiquette. It is not good etiquette. And also, when you want to even buy something in a shop, what happens by our friends, the Tanzanians, you greet the shopkeeper. Don't just go in the morning, it's like you are in a rush, it's like you are angry. You just go there saying, I want milk and bread. No, just go, smile at the shopkeeper, greet them. Then after you buy, pay, get your change if there was some change, then thank them for the nice service and wish them a good day. That is etiquette. Even when you are in a matatu, greet the conductor, Well, after that is etiquette. You have to show once you see there is a difference between somebody who has learned etiquette and just a common person out there. You have to show you are different. You have to show you are unique. They will actually judge. I know not many people say hi to the conductor when they are late, or even thank you once they are late at the stage. Do remember to say thank you. No, you're even supposed to thank the driver for driving safely. But people will just pretend to be in a rush. Umeenda, umeshuka, then you just disappear. That is not etiquette. Now, we'll give some assignment, a brief assignment, which you can use. You can give us in the comments on YouTube, on the SMS number, the WhatsApp number. I want you to have a small dialogue, between you and the shopkeeper, just a small dialogue using etiquette. That is one. I also want you to have another conversation with your teacher using etiquette. Also have another conversation with your friend and family, a family member, using etiquette. So with that, we come to the end of the lesson, the end of the etiquette lesson. Next time we'll prepare something else for you. And again, I want to appreciate you, the viewers. I want to remind you to kindly switch on to the show, give us comments, tell us how we can make it better, where we can improve. We love the views, the positive criticism is always welcome. So we encourage you to always watch. And I hope you have enjoyed the lesson. For anything you need clarification, the number is there. So viewers of Elimu TV, this was Teacher Ernest, all the way from Machakos County. Not a new teacher here, and this is not the last time. I know I'll be back again. I always enjoy coming to the show. I enjoy when I engage with you learners. I enjoy the positive feedbacks you give me out there. I enjoy when I'm telling you I will be coming to the show and you give me some points which you want to be addressed. So we salute you and we appreciate you. Thank you.